my dragon. I want you. Come here. I'm in no. You go to hell. There's something. Come on! Good riddance. Watch where you step or you'll be leaving here over my shoulder. don't know about you, but I have something far more enjoyable in mind.
We need to take care of this.
And damn near me. Trust my friend, with all I am, and yet my heart fucking stops when something comes at us. Every fucking time. scream and laugh instantly. Well, that's what I suspect.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Nope. No. Not gonna happen. Not right now.
I'm not one of your companions. You can just order around, you know. Why? Fine. Alright, right?
Your lips look cold. Should I warm them up a bit? I'm behind you.
Tell you what, you start running so I can stab you in the back.
Bring it on!
Problem solved. I'm glad to be wandering the wilds with you. Picking a fight? Good job. A lover stone. Not much going on. Oh wait, skills. It's about skills. That's good then.
Never should have come here.
The elf, Oshundor. What kind of a name is that anyway?
Heed our call if you deem us worthy. Our leader, Sunder, has led us here, and for that we are thankful. He has shown us that our suffering is not a punishment, but a blessing.
Yes, a blessing. For many months we have sought your guidance, yet we have heard nothing from you. If we do not please you, give us a sign so that we may understand why.
Yes, a sign. We are lost without your guidance. On the 9th of Rain's hand, our prayers went unanswered. Yet here we stand, not faltering in our belief that soon you will show yourself to us.
Yes, show yourself to us. Until that day, we will continue to devote our lives to you and suffer for you.
Yes, suffer for you.
Keep your eyes and ears open, my brothers and sisters. Is someone there?
Did you hear something? What was that?
did this, and when I do... What was that?
Damn near unbeatable.
Do you know where we're going? Or are you just lost and you don't want to admit it?
What was that?
How did they find us?
Strike them down first. Oh, this place is not right. I hope you have lots of healing potions. I swear my throat feels scratchy.
What was it?
What was that?
Someone there? What was that?
Nothing here after all.
A body. How absolutely terrible.
Huh?
never been puked on during combat. I hope I don't catch anything. What's next? Someone shitting on us?
What was that? Mine's playing tricks on me.
someone there.
What was that?
I have no idea what it is. You're dead!
Are you doing okay? Because I'm not. This place is really starting to get to me. Can we just hurry out and get out of here? Even my arse is starting to itch. that's a bit fucking grim, isn't it? Just trying to imagine what it was. Hey, you.
Any thoughts?
People claim Dwemer ruins are haunted, but I'd say it's just the machines.
How do you explain the stories about mysterious things going on inside them?
Anything can seem supernatural if you don't understand how it works.
Let's go. I hope this is all worth it. I'm gonna need a week's rest after this. And you will tend to my every need. Yes? Seriously, I'm not feeling well at all.
Found you.
Oblivion, take you!
You're pathetic.
That's the end of it.
Yes. Well done, mortal. All things are in their order, and Orchendor roams the pits. His betrayal will be punished, and your obedience is rewarded.
What happens now?
Go, seek your fate. I will be watching, and perhaps we will meet again afterwards.
Very well, goodbye.
Embrace order and hard truth, mortal. Goodbye.
You didn't have to do that. A Demora.
Lord Dagon demands reparation. He will claim your soul, then feast on the blood of the Dragonborn.
Dagon? I'm not a puppet of that beast anymore. Tell me who summoned you.
The time for talk is done. You will bleed.
Now that's done, how about we catch your breath, have a sip of water, and maybe I can steal a victory kiss or two, eh?
Oh, nice. You got a magical shield and I got a cough. I'm not a damn thing. Just a disease. Oh, shit, I hope this is curable. Have you got a health potion? I can't breathe.
Of course, Kaidan. Here you go, drink it quickly.
Have you? Oh, fuck! It didn't work! Where? I think it's starting to pass. Give me another one. Oh, shit. Wait, I think I'm okay. I thought I was going to meet Talos there for a minute. I still don't understand how you didn't get sick.
It knew my name. It came for me. I thought I'd left all that behind. I thought...
What did it want?
You heard what it said. Revenge. I crossed a Daedric prince. I should have known his followers weren't going to let it go.
Who could have summoned it?
It might have been any one of Dagon's followers. Even one of my old friends from the Blooded Dawn.
You said Rosalind had a talent for conjuration magic.
That... she did. And if she had actually survived that night, I would not put it past her.
So what now?
I think it's clear I can't turn my back on this. Not this time. If I don't face these cultists, they won't ever stop coming after me. I need to find where they are. Strike them down first.
You're not going to face this alone.
I will. If it means keeping you out of the clutches of a Daedric prince.
I won't lose you to the Daedra.
I should know by now not to fight you on these things. It's actually quite beautiful here.
Long life to you, Thane.
I'm here to collect the plantation's profits.
Very good, ma'am. Farewell.
I like it here.
Afflicted's note. A note revealing Orkender's location. Orkender has gone down into the airdrome. He believes some of the old Dwemer machines down there will help him commune with our blighted lord. Unsent afflicted letter. Beloved Dufresne, I know you thought me a fool not to leave Kalalawi with you and the others, but I couldn't abandon our children to the wasting sickness. Whatever horrible fates you may have guessed for us, however, are probably far from the truth of what has happened. I send this letter in hopes that it will soothe the worried mind. Maybe a week after you left with the rest of the healthy folk, I was patrolling the low wall by foot. Even our poor Kelter had taken the illness and was unfit to ride. I was praying that no bandits would be foolish enough to risk infection for our trifling goods. Then, outlined against the pyre light of the days lost, I saw a lone figure marching towards the village. The stranger was a Somerset elf, who introduced himself as Orkender, and with him came a change in destiny for the folk of Kalalawi. Orkender walked among our people without fear of the wasting sickness that had taken root in the marrow of every remaining villager, myself included by now. For days he ate and spoke with us, learning each name. He calmed the folk in a way my lying prayers could not. The spirits became cheerful that days before had awaited bleakly in the Death's Harbor. Orkender assembled us then, crowding the villagers into Colette's barn, she being the most badly stricken at that time, and unable to move without being carried by Orkender himself. The good elf then gave us tidings that none could have guessed. He claimed that the sickness was not a curse on our village, as we were sure it had been. Rather, Orkender insisted it was a boon, a beacon which drew him to us. He told us that he served the Daedric prince Periite. I know what you're thinking. We burned Dina and Lucas not 3 years before, after all. Kalalawi would never suffer the heresies of a Daedra worshipper in our midst. Yet we did. Not only that, but we raptly heard what he had to say. Maybe you think we were too sick, too weak, but we weren't. Orkender apologized for our dead, saying he came with all haste to Kalalawi. None had perished since his arrival, though several seemed on the brink in the hours before. He wanted to take us to a new home, a place where we could live out our days and worship a Periite as his chosen, as his afflicted. Nobody refused. Some were carried in carts and litters, but all made the trek with Orkender across the border into Skyrim, leaving Kalalawi an empty, haunted place. We have since lived in refuge, the ruins of an ancient dwarven city. Other afflicted live with us, many with similar tales to that of Kalalawi, bound together by our divine infection. Though you could say we are all sick, the effects of the sickness no longer diminish us, but give us strength. We heal ourselves with liquors and tinctures that other men would call poison. Orkender keeps us safe here by the blessing of our Prince Periite. I am now an apostle of the afflicted, tasked to disseminate the teachings of Periite to our afflicted. And so, sweet Dufresne, the spirit of Kalalawi lives on. I will never blame you for abandoning us that day, now long past. In truth, I am saddened that you were not likewise chosen by Periite to awake with these oozing lungs. Periite preserve you, dear husband, and know your children are well.
Guide to Vvardenfell. The Isle of Vvardenfell. Morrowind is the northeastmost province of the Tamrielic Empire, bounded on the north and east by the Sea of Ghosts, on the west by Skyrim, on the southwest by Cyrodiil, also known as the Imperial Province, and on the south by Blackmarsh, also known as Argonia. The Vvardenfell district encompasses Vvardenfell Island, a great landmass dominated by the giant volcano Red Mountain, and cut off from mainland Morrowind by the surrounding inner sea. Only recently open to settlement and trade, most of the island's population is confined to the relatively hospitable west and southwest coast, centered on the ancient city of Vivec and the old Great House district centers of Belmora, Aldrune, and Sadrithmora. The rest of the island is covered by hostile desert wastes and grasslands, and volcanic badlands, and thinly populated by the nomadic Ashlander tribes. Vvardenfell has 9 basic geographic regions, each with their own distinctive plants and terrain features. Scholars have based their classifications on the different types of land described by the native Ashlanders, so the designations are recognized by most local traders, travelers, and adventurers. These geographic regions are called the Ascadian Isles, the Ashlands, Azura's Coast, the Bitter Coast, the Grayslands, Molag Amur, Red Mountain, the West Gash, and Sheogorad. Ascadian Isles. The Ascadian Isles is a region of lush, green, well-watered southern lowlands where most of Vardenfell's agriculture is found. The area includes Pelagiad, Suran, Vivec City, and Al Sotha, along with the inland lakes and waterways of the Ascadian Isles proper. The urban areas of Vivec and Ebonheart of the southern coast are densely populated. The inland Ascadian Isles are dotted with small farms and large plantations. Climate is temperate and comfortable with moderate rainfall. Ebonheart is the seat of the imperial government for Vardenfell district and a busy center of maritime trade. Castle Ebonheart is the home of Duke Vidam the district's ruler and emperor's representative. Also located in Castle Ebonheart are the Vardenfell district council members and the Hawkmoth Legion garrison. The officers' docks and warehouses of the East Empire Company are also found in Ebonheart. Vivec City is the largest settlement on Vardenfell and one of the largest cities in the east. Each of the great cantons is the size of a complete town. The High Thane and the Palace of Vivec are visited by hundreds of tourists and pilgrims daily. Citizens flock to the arena for entertainment and war games. Outlanders mostly confine themselves to the foreign canton, while natives live, work, and shop in the great house, compounds, and residential cantons. Altsotha is a splendid Daedric ruin within sight of Vivec City. Though exotic and picturesque, it is a dangerous site, haunted by old magics, dark cultists, and their Daedric summonings, and not recommended for sightseers. Suran is an agricultural village in the northeastern corner of the fertile Ascadian Isles region. Two popular pilgrimage sites are nearby, Fields of Kumu and the Shrine of Molag Ba. Pelagiad is a newly chartered imperial village between Balmora and Vivec City on the western edge of the Ascadian Isle region. The village is right outside the Imperial Legion garrison at Fort Pelagiad. The houses and shops are built in the Western Imperial style, and Pelagiad looks more like a village in the Western Empire than a Morrowind settlement. The Ashlands. The Ashlands are the dry, inhospitable wastelands surrounding the lower slopes of Red Mountain. The Ashlands extend to the Sea of Ghosts in the north, and elsewhere form a wide margin between the blighted Red Mountain region and other geographic regions. The village of Margan is the only sizable permanent Ashland settlement. Aldrun, the district seat of House Redoran, is on the margins of that region. Ashlanders hunt for game here, and their herds find sparse grazing. It rains rarely and suffers frequent ash storms. Margan is a small isolated village in a remote region north of Aldrun. The Margan Shrine is an important temple pilgrimage site. The Ashlander Ursulaku tribe has a permanent settlement at Ursulaku Camp in the Ashlands regions north of Margan village. Azura's Coast. The rugged coastal islands of northern and eastern Vardenfell are called Azura's Coast. The region is rocky, infertile, and largely uninhabited except for the outpost at Molag Mar, the Talvani settlements at Sadrith Mora, the wizard towers at Tel Arun, Tel Mora, and Tel Branora, and Ahumsa Camp, and the remote fishing villages of Ald Redania and Dagon Fell on the north coast. There are no roads, most travel by boat. Despite the rocky terrain, a variety of plants thrive on the regular rainfall. Sadrith Mora is the district seat of House Telvanni and home of the Telvanni Council, although only one Telvanni councillor actually lives in Sadrith Mora. Sadrith Mora is an island settlement and accessible only by sea and teleportation. The town is large, with many services, but it is open only to Telvanni retainers. Outsiders must confine themselves to the Gateway Inn. Tel Branora is the tower and seat of the eccentric Telvanni wizard named Mistress Thorana. The tower and its tiny village are located on a rocky promontory at the southeasternmost tip of Azura's coast. Tel Fire is the Telvanni tower of the sorcerer lord Divath Fire. Beneath the tower is the Corpusarium, a refuge prison where the deranged, distorted victims of the deadly Corpus disease are housed and tended. Tel Arun is the Telvanni tower of Archmagister Gothram, Telvanni sorcerer lord and head of the Telvanni Council. The associated settlement is a sizable village and the site of the festival slave market, the largest slave market on Vvardenfell. Telmora is the Telvanni tower of Mistress Dretha, an ancient wizard of the Telvanni Council. The small settlement includes a few craftsfolk and a trade house. Tel Voss is the tower of Telvanni wizard and council member Master Auryen. Tel Voss is a peculiar blend of Telvanni and Western architectural styles and is close to Voss village. Balfell is the City of Stone, an ancient First-Era ruin in the southeastern islands and promontories of Azura's coast. The site has a nasty reputation, and several Telvanni wizards currently have competing camps of hirelings and adventurers exploring and looting there. Legend says that Balfell was built on the site of an ancient Daedric worship center. The Ashlander Ahamusa tribe has a permanent settlement at Ahamusa Camp on a rocky promontory at the northeastern tip of the Vvardenfell mainland in the Azura's coast region. The Bitter Coast. The western coast of Vvardenfell from Seyda-Neen north to Narmak is called the Bitter Coast. The salt marshes and humid swamps of this region are uninhabited, with the only settlements found at the good harbors of Narmak, Plaod, and Seyda-Neen. Also called the Smuggler's Coast, the region's secluded coves and islands provide refuge for criminal trade, and the frequent rain and fog hide small boats from excise cutters. The piercing light of the Grand Pharos at the mouth of the harbor of the port village of Seyda-Neen is a beacon to mariners throughout the inner sea. Most visitors from the Empire make landfall at the port of Seyda-Neen, where they are processed by the Imperial Census and Excise Commission agents of the Coast Guard station. Coast Guard cutters docked here control smuggling and piracy on the inner sea. Plaod is a tiny, isolated fishing village on western Vvardenfell in the Bitter Coast region. A rough track along the river Odai connects Plaod with the town of Balmora. Narmak is a tiny island fishing village in the Bitter Coast region of western Vvardenfell. Grazelands. The regular rain and dark soils of the grazelands provides the rich grazing for Ashlander herds that gives the region its name. The region lies on the northeast of Vvardenfell, sandwiched between the Ashlands and Azura's coast. Permanent settlements include Voss village and the towers of Tel Voss and Tel Fire. The Ashlanders of Zainab camp move their herds across the plains in search of fresh grazing. There are no roads or tracks, but travel is easy across the open plains. The Ashlander Zainab tribe has a permanent settlement at Zainab camp, near the village of Voss in the Grazelands region. Molag Amur. Located inland in the southeast of Vvardenfell, Molag Amur is an uninhabited wasteland of rocky hills, steep-sided ravines, lava pools, and barren ash pavements. Pathfinding and travel is extremely difficult in this trackless wilderness and is complicated by frequent ash storms. The Ashlanders of Erebenimsum camp hunt game here, but few others venture into this region. The worst part of Molag Amur, called the Great Scathes, is considered impassable, even by the Ashlanders. The outpost at Molag Mar is a fortified stronghold on the southeastern edge of the desolate Molag Amur region. Pilgrims bound for the nearby pilgrimage sites at Mount Asar Nabibi and Mount Khand take refuge at the outpost hostels, comforted by the garrison of Redoran and buoyant armage of crusaders stationed at the stronghold. The Ashlander Erebenimsum tribe has a permanent settlement at Erebenimsum camp, an isolated hut settlement in the middle of the desolate Molag Amur region. Red Mountain. The dominant feature of Vvardenfell, Red Mountain is a vast volcano in the center of Vvardenfell. The outer slopes are steep and rugged, and the crater is deep and dotted with surface lava. The Ghost Fence, a magical barrier which blocks travel as well as seals in the harmful, disease-laden weather called blight, rings the volcano's outer slopes and is broken only at Ghostgate. Within the Ghost Fence, rain never falls and the sun never shines. The only weather is the red and deadly ash blight. Ghostgate is the gate citadel of the Ghost Fence Ordinator and buoyant armiger garrisons. Ghostgate sits astride the only gap through which the monstrous hosts of Dagoth-Ur might emerge from Red Mountain to threaten the rest of Morrowind. The Ghost Fence itself is a colossal magical artifact that completely encircles Red Mountain and prevents the blight from spilling its corruption across the rest of Vvardenfell. West Gash. The western highlands of Vvardenfell are called the West Gash. The region extends from the Sea of Ghosts on the northwest coast to the inland town of Balmora, where the region is sandwiched between the Bitter Coast and the Ashlands. The trading village of Nisis is north of Aldrun, and the fishing village of Aldveloth and Kuhl lie on the north coast. The town of Caldera lies near Balmara. The herds of the Ashlanders of Urshkalaku camp graze on the sparse but hardy highland vegetation. Balmora is the district seat of House Lalu and the largest settlement on Vardenfell after Vivec City. Good roads lead north to Aldrun and south to Caldera, Sedanin, and Vivec City. The Imperial Legion garrison of Fort Moonmoth lies south of Balmora. Caldera is a recently chartered imperial town and mining corporation. The Caldera Mining Company has been granted an imperial monopoly to remove raw ebony from the rich deposits here. Caldera has the appearance and flavor of a western imperial town. Aldrun is a district seat of House Redoran and a large settlement. The Redoran council chambers are located inside the shell of an ancient, extinct giant crab. Tracks lead north to Margan and Nisis villages and south to Balmora. Nisis is a small mining and trade village astride the Silk Strider caravan route between the northwest, West Gash, and Aldrun. Aldveloth and Kuhl are tiny fishing villages on the northern coast of the West Gash. Sheogorad. The large island of Sheogorad lies north of Vardenfell. This island and its associated lesser islands are a maritime wilderness extending north from Vardenfell into the Sea of Ghosts. The region is largely hostile and uninhabited, with two small villages at Ald Bredania and Dagonfell. Only Dagonfell is reached by ship services. All other island-to-island transport must be provided by the traveler. Seriani's Sermons by Archcanon Thaler Seriani. Blessed Amsivi, Mercy, Mastery, Mystery. This volume of the Hieroglypha, i.e. priestly writings, was written and collected with commentary by Archcanon Thaler Seriani. It is the best-selling of the temple annotated texts, and therefore inexpensive and commonly found in most Dunmer households. Seriani collects Vivec's most famous sermons and the popular explanations of his Gospels. This text exists in many editions. More elaborate editions are handsomely illuminated with Vivec's quotations from the Gospels for days, seasons, and festivals. Listen, faithful, to Vivec's words, for he says 5 times and 5 ways, forge a keen faith in the crucible of suffering. Engrave upon thy eye the image of injustice. Death does not diminish, the ghost gilds with glory. Faith conquers all. Let us yield to faith. Better to suffer a wrong than to do one. Hear the words of Lord Vivec, and heed his sermons on the 7 graces, for he names them 7 times in 7 ways. Valor, daring, justice, courtesy, pride, generosity, humility. The grace of valor. Thank you for your valor, Lord Vivec. I shall not quail nor turn away, but face my enemies and my fear. The grace of daring. Thank you for your daring, Lord Vivec. I shall not shun risk, nor hide behind the mask of cautious counsel, for fortune favors the bold. The grace of justice. Thank you for your justice, Lord Vivec. I shall be neither cruel nor arbitrary, for fair dealing earns the love, trust, and respect of our people. The grace of courtesy. Thank you for your courtesy, Lord Vivec. I shall speak neither hurtful nor harsh word, but shall speak respectfully, even of my enemies, for temperate words may turn aside anger. The grace of pride. Thank you for your pride, Lord Vivec. I shall not doubt myself or my people or my gods, and shall insist upon them and my ancient rights. The grace of generosity. Thank you for your generosity, Lord Vivec. I shall neither hoard nor steal nor encumber myself with profitless treasure, but shall share freely among the house and hearth. The grace of humility. Thank you for your humility, Lord Vivec. I shall neither strut nor preen in vanity, but shall know and give thanks for my place in the greater world.
Ghosts in the Storm by Adonato Liatelli. Author's tale of his encounter with the Falmer. For many years now I have traveled the length and breadth of Skyrim, writing of my experiences and my adventures. I have seen many wondrous sights and many strange creatures in my travels. But one encounter remains fixed in my memory, though I wish it were not. I had taken up traveling with one of the Khajiit trade caravans that crisscrossed Skyrim, peddling their wares outside the gates of the large cities. We were nearing Windhelm when the storm struck. It was a violent and terrible gale, one of the worst I have seen in all my long years. The winds howled like all the Daedra of Oblivion, and the driving snow made us blind to the world. Risad called a halt, and we staggered from the road, our hands held over our faces to ward off the stinging pellets of ice. We huddled together in the shelter of a copse of pines. There was no hope of raising our tents. The wind would tear them from our hands the moment we unpacked them. They struck at the height of the storm. There were perhaps half a dozen of the creatures. It was difficult to say, as the blowing snow and howling wind overwhelmed our sight and our hearing. They were roughly man-sized, but hunched over and ugly. For garments, they wore only rags and leathers. They were armed with daggers and swords of various kinds, no doubt scavenged from their previous victims. They had no noses to speak of, only long slits for nostrils. Their ears were sharply pointed, suggesting a distant kinship with the elves. With their pallid skin and lifeless black eyes, they seemed like something out of a nightmare. Bisha saw them first, but too late to save herself. So loud was her death cry, we heard it over the roaring winds. That cry saved us all. Alerted to the presence of our foes, the Khajiit drew their blades and formed a circle, facing outward. The white fiends were too few to surround us completely, and the Khajiit fended off each attack. After 3 of the snow devils had fallen, the rest fell back and did not come at us again. The storm abated, and we arrived in Windhelm the next morning. I have taken up residence in Candlehearth Hall, and I find I am quite comfortable behind the towering stone walls of the city. Comfortable, at least until I go to sleep, and visions of those awful creatures return to haunt my dreams.
Harvesting Frostbite Spider Venom. A brief guide to harvesting Frostbite Spider Venom. My reserves of Frostbite Spider Venom are nearly depleted. The injuries I suffered in my last encounter with these deadly arachnids prevent me from undertaking the task myself, which is why I've hired you. Collecting the venom of a frostbite spider is not a complicated task, but there is some risk involved. I've written this brief guide in the hope that you'll be able to avoid making some of the mistakes that I've made. Frostbite spiders most often make their lairs in caves. These creatures do not shun the icy climes of the north, for as their name implies, they are largely immune to the cold. When food is especially scarce, a spider will venture out to hunt prey in the wilderness. Usually, however, the 8-legged devils prefer to ambush those unfortunate creatures who venture into their caves seeking shelter. The easiest way to locate a nest of frostbite spiders is to search for their large webs. Just take care not to get caught in one, for these webs are strong enough to trap a full-grown man. Once any part of you touches the sticky threads, it's nearly impossible to get free without help. Also, keep a watchful eye toward the ceiling. The frostbite spider is as stealthy as it is swift and can drop down onto your head and have its fangs in your back before you can scream. As long as you find a frostbite spider before it finds you, collecting the venom should be a simple matter. Because they rely on their webs to immobilize their prey, the creatures are not that difficult to kill in open combat. If you're inclined toward the arcane arts, don't bother with ice spells.
Fire magic will serve you far better. With that, I will say farewell and good hunting. Remember, any loot that you find in the spider's web is yours to keep. Oh, and the larger the hole, the larger the spider.
Ode to the Tundra Striders by Unknown, a poem dedicated to giants. O mighty Tundra Strider, how you and your mighty tusked beast silhouette against the great orange expanse. Thundering footsteps herald your herd, man and beast blazing trail together. One in nature, each relying upon the other, more than just man and beast, but equals who need one another to survive. How I long to run across the tundra in their mighty wake. That would truly be my greatest honor. The morning would be spent gathering dyes to paint our mammoths, and then carve the fiercest image into their tusks. Then it would be time for the skeever hunt. Our clubs would rain down upon the rat pests, smashing the life out of them. In the evening I could sit around the campfire, and I would regale those nearby with songs of their majesty and grace. They would let me sample of the mammoth's cheese, a food so foul, yet with healing properties so great. We'd snack on the roasted skeever we'd freshly caught that day before laying under the stars to sleep. I'd slowly fade to dream, nested in the radiating heat of mammoth fur, its cold-resisting properties keeping me snug. What a grand time we would have.
Every time I see that smile, gods, I want you. That's my lass.
You've been quiet. What's on your mind?
The bloodshed ahead, to be honest. I might not know exactly what to expect, but I do know there's no possible way this will end peacefully. These are my sins coming back to haunt me. Knowing I, in some way, deserve what's coming makes it harder to fight against.
Every day you're making up for your past. Now fight for your future.
Aye, and one I won't reach until I finish what was started with the Blood of Dawn. But you're right. I'm making a new life here. A good life. And I won't let those bastards take it away from me.
Let's rest here.
Sounds good, love. Aye?
Let's talk.
I'm at your service.
Everything all right?
Don't worry about me.
You look lost in thought. Something on your mind?
I was just thinking how someone is always wanting the Dragonborn to solve their problems. I just want you to know, I see past it all. I want you, not your powers.
I love you, Kaidan.
I'll always love you.
Come with me, I need your help.
I'll always walk beside you, my love, forever and a mile after that. This blood is fresh. Someone's been busy. Wait, let me soak in that smile. Alright. What do you need from me, love? Was that all you needed? God, you're beautiful. Oh, wait. I mean, what do you need? All right. I've seen these before. Wards like these were used on one of our hideouts. In order to cross them, you need to be in possession of a particular talisman.
Do you know where to get one?
No, but I know how to make one. Though some of the parts needed could be hard to find. Fire salts, a Daedra heart, and black soul gem fragments. Then a pendant made from bone to hold all the elements together. That much I can do.
Where can we find the ingredients?
I'm pretty sure fire salt should be easy enough. You can collect those from a flame antronarch, or buy them from an alchemist. Daedra hearts might not be so easy to find. You can rip them out of the Daedra themselves, but I don't think there'd be many who would sell them. The gem fragments will probably be the hardest to come by. I don't know much about how they're made or what it takes to break apart a black soul gem. That's the realm of necromancers, that is.
Valiant in Morthal might know, or someone at the college.
Perhaps we should ask there then. I'll get to work on a talisman right away.
Do you like magic? Valiant says I'm good at learning. I like learning about magic.
You are new to Morthal. We've not spoken before. This is interesting.
If you stand before me to accuse me of sacrificing children or eating the hearts of the dead, you may save your breath! I have done no such thing, nor do I intend to. I simply wish to live my life in peace.
Why would anyone accuse you of that?
The people of Morthal would much rather weave their own horrid tales about my life than simply ask me for the truth. If they choose to fear me in their ignorance, that's their choice, but it will not change what is true.
I'd like to make an investment in your business.
Excellent. I think you'll be glad that you made this decision.
Let's see what you can do with this.
Thank you. I'll be sure to put it to good use.
Can you teach me about conjuration?
You deal with powerful forces. Take care they do not overwhelm you.
Why set up shop in Morthal?
As anyone will tell you, Morthal can be a dangerous place. My talents are useful here. To help maintain order, even if it goes unnoticed.
What can you tell me about the area?
The marsh is treacherous. You would do well to not wander at night.
What have you got for sale?
Take a look. Till next time.
When I grow up, will I go to the college in Winterhold?
No, I don't think that will be necessary.
But I'm learning about magic, and that's what they do there.
This place
Shouldn't I
sells
go?
a lot of junk.
The college is not the only place to learn about magic.
But you went there, didn't you? Isn't that where you learned?
I was there only for a short time. Much of what I have learned has been on my own, and I will teach you. You have no reason to go there.
But...
That's enough.
Darling. I'm here if you need me.
Here for... work. Get an axe and bring me all the wood you can chop.
Here, I've finished the first part of the talisman. Once we have everything we need, we can take it to a forge and put it together. Are you sure that's all?
I was starting to think I would have to come and collect you myself.
Rosalind. So it is you.
You don't seem surprised.
I might have been, if you didn't make yourself so obvious. Sending Demora out to do your work for you. You'd even kill me by proxy.
Kill you? No, darling. Not kill you. Maim you, perhaps. Incapacitate. But I couldn't kill you. Not until I had you here. Now you are. And you even brought me the Dragonborn. I'll be rewarded for your sacrifice.
As deranged as ever you were. How did you find me?
Lord Dagon still speaks to me. He whispered of your arrival at his shrine. I wondered, hoped even, you might have returned to... Well, I see now that's not the case. It was easy enough to follow the rumors of the red-eyed swordsman in Skyrim. A man with a crimson tattoo down his face. You've been busy, Kaidan. What are you now? Hired muscle for the College of Winterhold. I know you couldn't possibly have spent so much time in their company because you were studying. And married. I can't begin to think what induced you to such a thing. Oh yes, I see that ring on your finger. You, of all people, decided to ask the gods for a blessing and settle for domestic slavery. Does your lover even know about you? The real you? Don't worry. I'll relay each and every one of your sins to them when I rip the still beating heart from their chest.
You won't live long enough to try, you psychotic bitch.
There he is. There's that bloodthirsty man I knew. Do you recall what you asked of me the last night we were together? You wanted me to use my magic to make you stronger. Molagbal has his vampires. Hircine his werewolves. You were ready to trade what humanity you had left just to destroy our clan. Ha! And I'm the psychotic one. Still, your idea wasn't without merit. With every sacrifice, my power grows and my mortality ebbs. Now, let's give this a fitting end, shall we?
We can do it.
What the crap is that in me pants? Oh shit! Fucking spider crawling up me dangly bits. Get it out! Get it off! Fuck! It's actually over. I thought I'd feel more relieved.
What do you think she was planning?
Rosalind was a fanatic. I guess by making sacrifices of us, she hoped to win Dagon's favour. Be transformed into something inhuman. I think it was working. Her body looks like it was breaking apart and burning from within.
We should leave this place.
Agreed. We've spent long enough in my past. That and all these dead bodies make for poor company. breathe up here. The air is so fresh and pure. You've got nothing on the Dragonborn! Give up! Sick of them. Can you ever take in too many souls? Just imagine if you sicked them back up. Sorry, ignore that. Once in a while, immaturity happens.
Azura Star! I knew the Lady of Twilight had sent you for a reason. Hand it over to me. I will ask Azura to restore the star to its original purity.
Here, take it.
I will commune with Azura. Azura, Mother of Roses, Goddess of Dusk and Dawn, your chosen champion has returned your star to you. She wishes to speak to you herself. Please, place your hands on the altar, and you will hear her voice.
Greetings, mortal. You have followed my guidance through the veils of twilight and rescued my star from Malyn Varen. But his soul still resides within, protected by his enchantments. Until he is purged, my artifact is useless to you.
Is there any way to cleanse the star?
Eventually, the star will fade back into my realm in oblivion, but I doubt you have the 100 or so years it would take to wait. No, only one option remains. I will send you inside the star. You will banish Malyn's soul there. Tell me when you are ready, mortal.
I'm ready to enter the star.
Have faith, mortal. I will be watching over you.
Ah, my disciples have sent me a fresh soul. Good. I was getting hungry. Wait, there's something different about you.
You can't escape your fate, Malyn.
And who are you to challenge me? I have conquered mortality itself. I've spat in the eyes of the Daedric lords. This is my realm now. I've sacrificed too much to let you take it from me.
Who are you?
Where are you? I know you can hear me.
No, not like this.
The star is free to purify itself. Don't worry, mortal. I will return you before you are cleansed.
Well, That's a bit fucking cool, isn't it?
My star has been restored, and Malin's soul has been consigned to oblivion. You have done well, mortal. As was destined, you are free to use my star as you see fit.
Thank you, Lady Azura.
Farewell, mortal. Know that Azura will be guarding over the threads of your fate in the twilight.
While you were in the star, Azura gave me a vision. Her last, she said. I have never been without Azura's foresight since escaping Morrowind. I don't know what to do. If you need me, I'd be honored to accompany you, Guardian of the Star. It would give me a purpose.
Thank you, Auryen.
Twilight, watch over you, Guardian.
So Azura isn't giving you more visions?
No. She said my part was over. That my fate had moved beyond the twilight, and I was on my own. I will tend Azura's shrine when you do not need me. I still have my duties, but for the first time I feel alone. Until next time, Guardian.
Azura's star is yours now. Beautiful artifact, that is. I suppose you'll be enchanting things more often than, eh? I'm not too keen on the soul trapping deal, though. That smile. I swear I could stand in the fucking pouring rain, see it, and I'd feel like the sun is shining on me all over again.
someone there?
You're dead! The way you look after the fight, all wild and so fucking alive. Gods, I need to kiss you. Right the what now? Die, dragon! You're looking a bit shaky after that. You need a rest? A drink? Me to stop hovering? Alright. Sorry. I just get worried. I'll just be back here enjoying the... You're a bit pale. Need a drink? Come on, take a few sips for me, my love. Until next time. We need to take care of it. The battle calls me again. Don't decide scary fight, or I find it a bit thrilling to watch. Know what I mean? Bit of both, methinks. Watch where you step, or you'll be leaving here over me shoulder.
It's time to do what we do best, Dragonborn!
This can't be good.
Done worse, I suppose? It's reassuring to know I have someone so skilled in the art of healing. Not Yoshi. His creatures.
Poor bastard. Locked in here and left to die because of what he wrote. Guess he should have considered the pros and cons first.
Fucking come on then! Fall to my blade!
That's the verse. Some of the bloody words are scratched out.
say shit.
Olaf, it is time.
Do you hear that? Trust me, Crown. With all I am, and yet my heart fucking stops when someone comes out of sight. Every fucking time. What the fuck was that? Bullshit. Shit. Are you alright, little dragon? Hardly. You jumped out of my chest that fight. I don't know what I'd fucking do if I had lost you.
Arise, Olaf. My vengeance is at hand.
My blade is thirsty for blood. I swear to fuck. How about we catch your breath? Have a sip of water, and maybe I can steal a victory kiss or two, eh?
Excellent bird! Die!
You won't walk away, gentle or alive, when my blade is in your belly. This wasn't so bad after all, was it? How are you? Are you feeling okay?
About surviving out here.
Aye.
I'm exhausted.
Maybe we should rest for the night.
Could you set up a campsite?
All right then.
Fucking hell.
I swear, those lips are more addictive than skooma, and sweeter than moon sugar. I want to taste them again.
Letter from Kaidan, 17 Second Seed 201. Lyria, look, I know a lot has changed for you recently, probably in ways you never fucking expected. Just wanted you to know one thing hasn't. Me. Swore myself as your shield, and I'll not turn my back on you now. My debt still holds, and it hasn't been paid. What you are on the outside might be changing from time to time, but who you are inside hasn't. Not for me. So I'll be keeping you and your secrets safe. You can depend on me for whatever comes next. I swear it. Just wanted you to know. Kaidan. Letter from Kaidan, 23rd Second Seed 201. There you go. Dealing with Daedra will never not make my heart worry. It's something felt different with this one. I'm not that well versed on Azura, but for once it felt right. I'm proud of your decision. Not sure if it had been me I would have even spared a second to investigate. I do hope those souls find peace. I believe we should always be cautious, so I thought perhaps next time we stop, we could try to learn more. Kaidan. Kailan's Architecture of the Second Empire. This is Kailan Marley's outdated but entertainingly written and well-illustrated reference on late Dwemer architecture. Excerpt is from the chapter describing the Second Empire style of approaches and defenses, and mentions the common formal conventions of the four tests. The book also mentions that the Telvanni have adopted these four tests conventions as an aesthetic element in their defenses and approaches to their towers. The test of pattern requires the observer to examine and analyze for patterns before he acts, with the understanding that many patterns are subtle or hidden. The test of disorder requires the observer to proceed systematically when no pattern is perceived. When the observer recognizes that many things must be done, and in no specific order, the procedure is to perceive and order all the things to be done, and upon doing a thing to recall how and when that thing has been done. For example, the observer must remember the initial position of a thing, and also the new position of that thing. The test of evasion requires the observer to examine the obstacle and compare his resources and abilities. If the obstacle is too difficult, seek for a path around the difficulty. The test of confrontation requires the observer to examine the obstacle and compare his resources and abilities. If the obstacle is too difficult, look for a path around the difficulty. And if no path around can be found, confront the obstacle directly. Smuggler's Island by Cordy and Auryen. Tale of 11 moonsugar smugglers' grisly fate. It took a little over an hour for Harathoel to search the island from one end to the other. He turned back to Cerise, who was where he left it, half buried in the sand to pack his broken bones. One of the crates of moonsugar was open. "You're sampling the merchandise?" asked Harathoel angrily. "It takes away the pain," said Cerise. "How far away are we?" "We didn't make it as far as the mainland," said Harathoel. "I can't see the coastline at all, but that's not all. I haven't found anything edible anywhere, just weeds and a few scraggly trees." "And no other survivors?" asked Cerise. "No. It looks like we're the only ones. I guess the nice way to look at it is that if we're rescued, we can divide the profits between 2 rather than between 12. So, we'll either be rich or dead," said Cerise. "That's a comfort." Cerise was too battered to be of much help, but Harathoel was able to construct a crude shelter, weaving the sandweeds. As night fell on the small island, the two men discussed the smuggling operation and what went wrong. Their boat, laden with 5 crates of moonsugar, was supposed to meet another, the Sun Chariot, off the coast of Plaod. Who could have predicted the storm? Who could have predicted that everyone would drown, from the bold captain to the mysterious figure with ties to one of the royal houses? Everyone except for Cerise and Harathoel. They decided it was all the whim of Boethia, or one of the other Daedra with cruel senses of humor. Finding fresh water was their first goal, and it turned out to be a fruitless quest. Harathoel dug deeply, but there were no springs under the island, just sand and rocks. Cerise felt panic seizing his soul until he saw the small, quick, golden fish swimming at the edges of the island. He had read somewhere that fish were not only food, but there was always a little fresh water within them. If he could catch one, the 2 men would be saved. His broken legs, he was a pathetic predator, and he was soon reduced to hurling rocks at the alert and nimble little fish. Harathoel watched Cerise's futile endeavor for a little while before getting to work. He used his small knife to whittle a point on a long, straight tree branch until he had fashioned a spear. Again and again he thrust the spear at the fish, but he had no more success than Cerise and his stones. "Have you ever used a spear before?" asked Cerise. "It's not my weapon of choice," said Harathoel quietly, watching his prey and missing another with a splash and a curse. Cerise laughed. "Do you want a rock?" Harathoel ignored Cerise, murmuring, "The trick, as I've heard it, is to anticipate where your target's going to go and aim your spear there, not where they are now. I just have to observe them a little longer. Why can't the little fetchers swim in straight lines?" After an hour of flailing about, Harathoel, by luck, managed to spear a fish. The men tore it apart and ate it raw. As the days and weeks went by, Harathoel got better and better until he was able to strike quickly and with great accuracy. He could hit a fish by throwing the spear or by plunging at one at his feet. Cerise made fire, but being lame, he had to rely on Harathoel for all the food. It was nearly 2 months after washing ashore that the men saw a boat on the horizon. They set a large fire, and the crew saw them. As it approached, they saw that it was the Sun Chariot, the very boat they were to have met on the night of the storm. Smugglers aboard would pay them good money for the moonsugar. Luckily, Cerise had only used a little bit of it, and they still had 5 nearly full crates. They were not only going to be saved, they were going to be rich, just as Harathoel had said. Harathoel excitedly started to help Cerise to his feet, but the man rose on his own. "You can walk! It's a miracle!" "Cerise is not too steady, though," said Cerise. "Would you gather up the crates?" Harathoel, overjoyed at rescue at long last, began picking up the crates and stacking them. "I wish you'd told me you could walk, though, mate. But I could have used your help spearing dinner all these months." "Cerise watches, though," said Cerise. "You'd be surprised how much you can learn just by watching. Don't forget the 5th crate over by the tree." Cerise shuffled over to the shore and saw that the boat was only a few minutes from landing. And Cerise listens. When you said that a fortune divided by 2 is more profitable than a fortune divided by 12, Cerise listened to that too. Cerise shuffled back to the crate by the tree. And it occurred to Cerise that a fortune divided by 1 was even better. Cerise pulled the spear out of Harathoel's skull. The trajectory had been perfect. It had fallen down from the branches as soon as the crate was removed. just as he had planned. Just like you said, the trick is to anticipate where your target's going to go, and aim your spear there. Cerise pushed the crate to the shore and waved the boat in.
Sit quietly, child, and listen, for the story I tell you is a story of the ages.
But what is it, grandfather? Is it a story of heroes and beasts?
The grandfather looked patiently at the child. He was growing into a fine boy. Soon he would see the value in the stories, the lessons that were taught to each generation. Just listen, child. Let the story take root in your heart. In a time before now, long before now, when the Skull were new, there was peace in the land. The sun was hot and the crops grew long, and the people were happy in the peace that the All-Maker provided. But the Skull grew complacent and lazy. They took for granted all the lands and the gifts that the All-Maker had given them. They forgot, or chose not to remember, that the adversary is always watching, and that he delights in tormenting the All-Maker and his chosen people. And so it was that the adversary came to be among the Skull. The adversary has many aspects. He appears in the unholy beasts and the incurable plague. At the end of seasons, we know him as Thartag, the world devourer. But in these ages he came to be known as the Greedy Man. The Greedy Man, that is what we call him, for to speak his name would certainly bring ruin on people, lived among the Skull for many months. Perhaps he was once just a man, but when the adversary entered him, he became the Greedy Man, and that's how he is remembered. It all came to be one day that the powers of the Skull left them. The strength left the arms of the warriors, and the showmen could no longer summon the beast to their side. The elders thought that surely the All-Maker was displeased, and some suggested that the All-Maker had left them forever. It was then that the Greedy Man appeared and spoke. You of the Skull have grown fat and lazy. I have stolen the gifts of your All-Maker. I have stolen the oceans, so you will forever know thirst. I have stolen the lands and the trees and the sun, so your crops will wither and die. I have stolen the beasts, so you will go hungry. And I have stolen the winds, so you will live without the spirit of the All-Maker. And until one of you can reclaim these gifts, the Skull will live in misery and despair. For I am the Greedy Man, and that is my nature. And the Greedy Man disappeared. The members of the Skull spoke for many days and nights. They knew that one of them must retrieve the gifts of the All-Maker, but they could not decide who it should be. I cannot go, said the elder, for I must stay to lead the Skull until our people what is the law. I cannot go, said the warrior, for I must protect the Skull. My sword will be needed in case the Greedy Man reappears. I cannot go, said the showman, for the people need my wisdom. I must read the portents and offer my knowledge. It was then that a young man called Eva lifted his voice. He was strong of arm and fleet of foot, though he was not yet a warrior of the Skull. I will go, said Eva, and the Skull laughed. Hear me out, the boy continued. I am not yet a warrior, so my sword will not be needed. I cannot read the portents, so the people will not seek my counsel. And I am young, and not yet wise in the ways of the law. I will retrieve the gifts of the All-Maker from the Greedy Man. If I cannot, I will not be missed. The Skull thought on this briefly, and decided to let Eva go. He left the village the next morning to retrieve the gifts. Eva first set out to retrieve the gift of water, so he travelled to the Waterstone. It was there that the All-Maker first spoke to him. Travel west to the sea and follow the swimmer to the waters of life. So Eva walked to the edge of the ocean, and there was the swimmer, a black ochre set from the All-Maker. The swimmer dove into the waters and swam very far, and far again. Eva was strong though, and he swam hard. He followed the swimmer to a cave, swimming deeper and deeper, his lungs burning and his limbs exhausted. At last he found a pocket of air, and there, in the dark, he found the waters of life. Gathering his strength, he took the waters and swam back to the shore. Upon returning to the water stone, the Old Maker spoke. "You have returned the gift of the water to the skull. The oceans again will bear fruit, and their thirst will be quenched." Eivor then travelled to the Earthstone, and there the Old Maker spoke to him again. "Into the cave of hidden music, and hear the song of the earth." So Eivor travelled north and east, to the cave of hidden music. He found himself in a large cavern, where the rock sang from the ceiling and grew from the ground itself. He listened there, and heard the song of the earth, but it was faint. Grabbing up his mace, he struck the rocks of the floor in time with the song, and the song grew louder, until it filled the cavern and his heart. Then he returned to the Earth Stone. "The gift of earth is with the skull again," said the Old Maker. "The lands are rich again, and will bear life." Eivor was tired, and the sun burned him. The trees offered no shade, and there was no wind to cool him. Still, he travelled on to the beast's rock, and the Old Maker spoke. "Find the good beast, and ease his suffering." Eivor travelled through the woods of the Eisenfjord for many hours until he heard the cries of a bear from over a hill. As he crested that hill, he saw the bear, a fulmer's arrow piercing its neck. He checked the woods for the fulmer, for that is where they were, though some say they are not. And finding none, approached the beast. He spoke soothing words and came upon it slowly, saying, "Good beast, I mean you no harm. The Old Maker has sent me to ease your suffering." Hearing these words, the bear ceased his struggles, and laid his head at Eivor's feet. Eivor grasped the arrow and pulled it from the bear's neck. Using the little nature magic he knew, Eivor tended the wound, though it took the last bit of his strength. As the bear's wounds closed, Eivor slept. When he awoke, the bear stood over him, and the remains of a number of the farmer were strewn about. He knew that the good beast had protected him during the night. He travelled back to Beast Rock, the bear by his side, and the Old Maker spoke to him again. "You have returned the gift to the beasts. Once again the good beasts will feed the skull when they are hungry, clothe them when they are cold, and protect them in times of need." Eivor's strength had returned, so he travelled to the tree stone, though the good beast did not follow him. When he arrived, All Father spoke to him. "The first trees are gone, and must be replanted. Find the seed and plant the first tree." Eivor travelled again through the Erstang forest, searching for the seeds of the first tree, but he could find none. Then he spoke to the tree spirits, the living trees. They told him that the seeds had been stolen by one of the Fulmer, for they are servants of the adversary, and this Fulmer was hiding them deep in the forest, so that none would ever find them. Eivor travelled to the deepest part of the forest, and there he found the evil Fulmer, surrounded by the lesser tree spirits. Eivor could see that the spirits were in his thrall. They had used the magic of the seeds and spoke in their secret name. Eivor knew he could not stand against such a force. They must retrieve the seeds in secret. Eivor reached into his pouch and drew out his flint. Gathering leaves, he started a small fire outside the clearing, where the Fulmer and the ensorcered spirits milled. All the skull know the spirits' hatred of fires, for the fires ravage the trees that they serve. At once, the nature of the spirits took hold, and they rushed to quell the flames. During the commotion, Eivor snuck behind the Fulmer and snatched the pouch of seeds, stealing away before the evil being knew that they were gone. When Eivor returned to the tree of stone, he planted the tree in the ground, and the Old Maker spoke to him. "The gift of trees is restored. Once again the trees and plants will bloom and grow, and provide nourishment and shade." Eivor was tired, for the sun would only burn and the winds would not yet cool him, but he rested briefly in the shade of the trees. His legs were weary and his eyes heavy, but he continued on, travelling to the sunstone. Again the Old Maker spoke. "The gentle warmth of the sun is stolen, so now it only burns. Free the sun from the holes of penumbra." And so Eivor walked west, over the frozen lands until he reached the holes of penumbra. The air inside was thick and heavy. and he could see no farther than the end of his arm. Still, he felt his way along the walls, though he heard the shuffling of feet and knew that this place held the unholy beasts would tear his flesh and eat his bones. For hours he crept along, till he saw a faint glow at the far end of the hall. There, from behind a sheet of perfect ice, came a glow so bright he had to shut his eyes, lest they be forever blinded. He plucked the flaming eye from one of the unholy beasts and threw it at the ice with all his might. A small crack appeared in the ice, then grew larger. Slowly, the light crept out between the cracks, widening them, splitting the ice wall into pieces. With a deafening crack, the wall crumbled, and the light rushed over Eivor and through the halls. He heard the shrieks of the unholy beasts as they were blinded and burned. He ran out of the halls following the light and collapsed onto the ground outside. When he was able to rise again, the sun warmed him, and he was glad for that. He travelled back to the Sunstone, where the Allmaker spoke to him. The gift of the sun is the skulls once again. It will warm them and give them light. Eivor had one final gift he had to recover, the gift of the winds. So he travelled back to the Windstone, far on the west coast of the island. When he arrived, the Allmaker spoke to him, giving him his final task. Find the greedy man, and release the wind from its captivity. So Eivor wandered the land in search of the greedy man. He looked in the trees, but the greedy man did not hide there. Nor did he hide in the oceans or the deep caves, and the beasts had not seen him in the dark forests. Finally, Eivor came to a crooked house, and he knew that here he would find the greedy man. "Who are ye," shouted the greedy man, "that you would come to my house?" "I am Eivor the Skull," said Eivor. "I am not warrior, shaman or elder. If I do not return, I will not be missed. But I have returned the oceans and the earth, the trees and the beasts, and the sun, and I will return the winds to my people, that we may feel the spirit of the Allmaker in our souls again." And with that, he grabbed up the greedy man's bag and tore it open. The winds rushed out with gale force, sweeping the greedy man up and carrying him off, far from the island. Eivor breathed in the winds and he was glad. He walked back to the Windstone where the Allmaker spoke to him a final time. "You have done well, Eivor. You, the least of the Skull, have returned my gifts to them. The greedy man is now gone for good, and should not trouble your people again in your lifetime. Your Allmaker is pleased. Go now, and live according to your nature." And Eivor started back to the Skull village. "And then what happened, grandfather?" "What do you mean, child? He went home."
"No, when he returned to the village," the child continued. "Was he made a warrior? Or taught the ways of the shaman? Did he lead the Skull in battle?"
"I do not know. That is where the story ends," said the grandfather.
"Well, that's not an ending. That's not how stories end."
The old man laughed and got up from his chair. "Is it not?"
The 5 Songs of King Wolfheart, a summary of 5 epic songs of King Wolfheart, plus an apocryphal song of the Tribunal, Dagoth Ur, and Indoril Nerevar. Shore's Tongue. The first song of King Wolfheart is ancient, circa 1st era 500, after the defeat of the Elysian army at Glenumbria Moors, where King Hoag Marekiller was slain. Wolfheart of Atmora was elected by the Pact of Chieftains. His Thu'um was so powerful that he could not verbally swear into the office, and scribes were used to draw up his oaths. Immediately thereafter, the scribes wrote down the first new law of his reign, a fiery reinstatement of the traditional Nordic pantheon. The edicts were outlawed, their priests put to the stake, and their halls set ablaze. The shadow of King Borgas had ended for a span. For his zealotry, King Wolfheart was called Shore's Tongue, and Ismir, Dragon of the North. Kind's Son. The second song of King Wolfheart glorifies his deeds in the eyes of the old gods. He fights the eastern orcs and shouts their chief into hell. He rebuilds the 418th step of High Hrothgar, which has been damaged by a dragon. When he swallowed a thundercloud to keep his army from catching cold, the Nords called him the Breath of Kine, Old Knocker. The third song of King Wolfheart tells of his death. Orkay, an enemy god, had always tried to ruin the Nords, even at Atmora where he stole their years away. Seeing the strength of King Wolfheart, Orchay summoned the ghost of Alduin Time Eater again. Nearly every Nord was eaten, down to 6 years old. Boy Wolfheart pleaded to Shor, the dead chieftain of the gods, to help his people. Shor's own ghost then fought the Time Eater on the spirit plane, as he did at the beginning of time, and he won, and Orchay's folk, the orcs, were ruined. As Boy Wolfheart watched the battle in the sky, he learned a new thune. What happens when you shake the dragon just so? He used this new magic to change his people back to normal. In his haste to save so many, though, he shook too many years out of himself. He grew older than the Greybeards, and died. The flames of his pyre were said to have reached the hearth of Kine itself. The Ash King. The fourth song of King Wolfheart tells of his rebirth. The dwarves and devils of the eastern kingdoms had started to fight again, and the Nords had hoped that they might reclaim their ancient holdings there because of it. They planned an attack, but then gave up, knowing that they had no strong king to lead them. Then in walked the Devil of Dagoth, who swore he came in peace. Moreover, he told the Nords a wondrous thing. He knew where the heart of Shor was. Long ago, the chief of the gods had been killed by elven giants, and they ripped out Shor's heart and used it as a standard to strike fear into the Nords. This worked until Ysgramor shouted some sense, and the Nords fought back again. Knowing that they were going to lose eventually, the elven giants hid the heart of Shor so that the Nords might never have their god back. But here was the Devil of Dagoth with good news. The dwarves and devils of the eastern kingdom had his heart, and this was the reason for their recent unrest. The Nords asked the Devil of Dagoth why he might betray his countrymen so, and he said that the devils have betrayed each other since the beginning of time, and this was so, and so the Nords believed him. The tongues sung Shor's ghost into the world again. Shor gathered an army as he did of old, and then he sucked in the long-strewn ashes of King Wolfheart and remade him, for he needed a good general. But the Devil of Dagoth petitioned to be that general too, and he pointed out his role as the blessed harbinger of this holy war. So Shor had two generals, the Ash King and the Devil of Dagoth, and he marched on the eastern kingdoms with all the sons of Skyrim. Red Mountain. The fifth song of King Wolfheart is sad. The survivors of the disaster came back under a red sky. That year is called Sun's Death. The Devil of Dagoth had tricked the Nords, for the heart of Shor was not in the eastern kingdoms, and had never been there at all. As soon as Shor's army had got to Red Mountain, all the devils and dwarves fell upon them. Their sorcerers lifted the mountain and threw it onto Shor, trapping him underneath Red Mountain until the end of time. They slaughtered the sons of Skyrim, but not before King Wolfheart killed King Dumalaketh, the dwarf orc, and doomed his people. Then Vec the Devil blasted the Ash King into hell, and it was over. Later, Kine lifted the ashes of Izmir into the sky, saving him from hell, and showing her sons the color of blood when it is brought by betrayal. And the Nords will never trust another devil again. The secret song of Wolfheart Ash King. The truth at Red Mountain. The heart of Shor was in Resdain, as Dagoth had promised. As Shor's army approached the westernmost bank of the inner sea, they stared across at Red Mountain, where the Dwemeri armies had gathered. News from the scouts reported that the Chimeri forces had just left Narsis, and that they were taking their time joining their cousins against the Nords. Dagoth said that the tribunal had betrayed their king's trust, that they sent Dagoth to Lorkhan, for this is what they called Shor in Resdain, so that the god might wreak vengeance on the dwarves for their hubris, that Nerevar's peace with the Dwemer would be the ruin of the Velothi way. This was the reason for the slow muster, Dagoth said. The armies grow, and Lorkhan, for that is what they called Shor in Resdain, said,
I do not wreak vengeance on the dwarves for the reasons that the tribunal might believe I do. Nevertheless, it is true that they will die by my hand, and any whoever should side with them as well. This Nerevar is the son of Boeotia, one of the strongest Paramaics. He is a hero to his people despite his tribunal, and he shall muster enough that this battle will be harder going still. We will need more than we have.
And so Dagoth who wanted the dwarves as dead as the tribunal did, went to Kogoran and summoned his house Chapthiel, his Nyx hounds, his wizards, archers, and his stolen men of brass. And the Ash King, Wolfheart, Hori Izmir, went and made peace with the orcs in spite of his Nordic blood, and they brought many warriors but no wizards at all. Many Nords could not bring themselves to ally with their traditional enemies, even in the face of Red Mountain. They were close to desertion. Then Wolfheart said, Don't you see where you really are? Don't you know who Shor really is? Don't you know what this for is? And they looked from the king to the god
to the devils and orcs, and some knew, really knew, and they were the ones that stayed. The Doom Drum. Nerevar carried Keening, a dagger made of the sound of the shadow of the moons. His champions were Dumak Dwarf King, who carried a hammer of divine mass, and Alondro Sul, who is the immortal son of Azura and wore the Wraith Mail. They met Lorkhan in the last battle of Red Mountain. Lorkhan had his heart again, but he had long been from it, and he needed time. Wolfheart met Sul, but could not strike him, and he fell from grievous wounds, but not before shouting Sul blind. Dagoth met Dumak and slew him, but not before Sunder struck his lord's heart. Nerevar turned away from Lorkhan and struck down Dagoth in a rage, but he took a mortal wound from Lorkhan in turn. But Nerevar feigned the death that was coming early, and so struck Lorkhan with surprise on his side. The heart had been made solid by Sunder's turning blow, and Keening could now cut it out. And it was cut out, and Lorkhan was defeated, and the whole ordeal was thought to be over.
Flight from the Thalmor by Hadric Oakenheart, a written epitaph of a Nordic skald. Dearest reader, the work you are about to experience has been copied and duplicated so that the story it relates can be spread throughout the Empire. But make no mistake, this is not a work of fiction. The events chronicled in this account are all true, were originally documented in a private journal, which now remains safely guarded in the House of Quills in Hammerfell, and occurred not more than a year before this book was printed. Ashad ibn Khaled, High Scribe, House of Quills, Hammerfell. It's been 9 days. 9 days since I slipped my bonds. 9 days since I strangled my captor with my own chains. And 9 days since I rushed headlong into the night, always listening, but never looking back. But in order to understand my current predicament, one must first understand where I came from, and just where the story began. My name is Hadric Oakenheart, and I am a proud Nord of Skyrim. I am a skald by trade, and received my formal training at the Bard's College in Solitude. For years, I made my occupation as a traveling musician and minstrel, and even served several stints as war bard in service of the armies of the various Jarls. And it's fairly safe to say that if I weren't a bard, I never would have gotten into this mess to begin with. My troubles began when I first started singing about Talos, the ninth and greatest divine, beloved of the people of Skyrim. Turns out, he's not so beloved by the Thalmor. Ah yes, the Thalmor. As common as a head cold in Skyrim these days, and just as annoying. Or so I thought at the time, before their true power and influence made itself known. For those not in the know, the Thalmor are Skyrim's recently honored guests. High elves of the Aldmeri Dominion who were gracious enough to not wipe us all out during the Great War. But, as every Nord of Skyrim knows, Thalmor graciousness comes at a terrible price. One of the stipulations of the White Gold Concordat, the peace treaty between our peoples, was the abolishment of Talos worship. A man ascend to godhood? Preposterous, claimed the Thalmor. And so, the open worship of Talos has been outlawed in Skyrim, and actively enforced in those cities where the Thalmor have a tangible presence. Cities, I might add, in which the Empire has the most secure foothold. It was in one of these cities, Markarth to be exact, where I made the conscious decision to defy the ban on Talos worship. And my defiance came in the form of, what else? A song. For what bard who has spent time writing and rehearsing an original work can possibly refrain from performing it? So perform it I did. Not once, not twice, but 7 times, once a day, for an entire week. Now, here's something most of my kinsmen are unaware of. Not all Thalmor in Skyrim are equal in station or purpose. In fact, there is one group in particular that operates secretly, in the shadows, watching and waiting for those Nords who break the law and continue their worship of almighty Talos. These are the Justicars, and it is their job to enforce this, the most terrible of conditions of the White Gold Concordat. And so, I would have performed my song for an 8th time had I been given the opportunity. Sadly, I was not, for the Justicars had been watching, had been waiting. Instead, I received a black sack over my head in the wee hours of the morning, a dreadfully uncomfortable wagon ride, and sinister promises that I would enjoy my new home, which I came to realize was some sort of secret Thalmor prison or detention camp, one I was certain I would never leave alive. It was at that moment I realized I needed to make my escape. No matter what, even if I died in the attempt, I had to slip the grasp of my captors. Better that than rot in some god-forsaken Thalmor jail to the end of time. I finally got my chance when the wagon stopped, and we made camp for the night. One of my 2 Thalmor guards set off into the forest to hunt, leaving me alone with the other. And so, my account comes full circle. It is now 9 days later, and in that time I have realized the true extent of my foolishness. I couldn't have sung the song just once, or maybe twice, or not at all. I couldn't have swallowed my stubborn Nord pride and realized just how much power and influence the Thalmor truly have over the Jarls. No, I could not. So now I run. Like a hare from the hound, I run. Always moving, rarely resting, never sleeping. But the Thalmor dog my every move. Where will I go? How will I escape their grasp? I honestly don't know. The only thing I now understand for certain is this. If the agents of the Aldmeri Dominion cannot have your soul, then they will take your very life. My name is Hadric Oakenheart, and I am a proud Nord of Skyrim. Remember me, for soon I will be dead.
And you never wanted to leave, and you never wanted to leave, and you never wanted to leave, and you never wanted to leave. I'm sorry.
For what?
My life has been such a complicated mess. It means so much to me, and I've dragged you into all of this. I'm sorry for that.
No matter what life throws at us, I'm here for you always because I want to be.
That you stay means more to me than you could realise.
Good, because you mean everything to me and I don't want to lose that. Ever.
I feel the same way.
Even if you've shown seriously questionable judgment on who to bed.
You're not going to let me live this one down, are you?
A wench that crazy and deadly? Not a chance. I hope that's the last of them.
As long as you don't go mad with power.
Bloody hell, Kaidan.
I'm sorry, I'm feeling unhinged today.
Can I ask you what happened that night on the farm?
I never wanted to tell you all that happened at the farm. It started with the horses. We barred the door to the stable and set it on fire, but one of the children had hidden in the hay. I thought that I'd grown numb to death, crushed that weakness in myself, until I heard those screams. It unleashed something else in the others. A darkness, a cruelty I had willfully blinded myself to. I should have killed them. I should have killed them all that night, even if it had cost me my life. I'm not sure I could have saved that family, but at least I wouldn't have to live with the knowledge, with the guilt that I didn't even try.
The things you did may be a part of you, but it wasn't you doing them willingly.
I can believe that when you say it. Still, I carry these regrets to the end of my days.
You're a good man, Kaidan. I would never think otherwise.
You have always seen the best in me, my love. Thank you. Need something?
Been a bit since I kissed you. Thought maybe your lips were lonely for mine. Bit warm in here. I might have to strip down a bit. Care to join me?